Hello Games Done Quick, my name is Sieg, I'm a Dark Souls 3 speedrunner, and since this is my submission for all Bosses Glitchless race with Hemlocks, so basically the goal of this category is to kill all the bosses, including optional ones, including DLCs, and DLC bosses are basically the hardest ones, and as in any Souls game, DLC bosses mean lots of challenge, lots of impressive attacks, lots of fights, and by itself, all this category, even though it's glitchless, it has some skips, it has some very impressive techniques, it has some very interesting strats, so it's gonna be very fun. So let's start with Classic, with character creation menu.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. And here we choose name of character. It's pretty good, like if we have any from incentive. Basically, let's just call it right now SGDQ. And as a class, we start with Assassin. And as a burial gift, we choose Black Firebomb. Because that's basically the best choice for glitchless runs. For glitchless runs, it's a bit different one. And after that, we are basically ready to start. So 3, 2, 1, go. So, what about All Bosses Glitchless DS3? All Bosses Glitchless is definitely one of the hardest categories of this game. I would say it's definitely the hardest with all bosses unrestricted, because any category that has DLCs is definitely the hardest one. DLCs are incredibly hard to learn, and bosses that are in DLCs have a very extremely cool fights, but at the same time they're super complicated. So this category is definitely one of the most interesting ones to watch for any viewer, for like professional runner or for completely like random people. It's very impressive. So let's start with the first boss, basically pretty straightforward. We just go to Iudex Gundyr, and here we're gonna use our black firebombs that we picked up in the character creation. We're not gonna use all of them, but it will help us a lot during this fight. So firstly, we need to start with 13 hits. It's very important to count hits in this first phase. And it's really important to strafe all his attacks. Basically, strafes are not really that hard, but you just need to do that to perform a pretty precise stamina management. And after that, in second phase, you just finish him with 3 firebombs, and it's pretty straightforward. Let's go. First boss is done. We just open this door. Usually in speedruns, you will see that people quit out on this door, or on any other doors to skip the animation. It's only because leaderboards are based on in-game time, while for real time it's gonna be a bit slower, so we're not gonna do that. Only in some certain situations where you actually can help yourself by resetting some creatures or stuff like that. So here is Filing Shrine. I want to buy some items here for Homeward Bones, Dagger, and Short Sword. Short Sword will be our main weapon for early game. Dagger will be our more like transportation item, like through the swamps, but you will see it later. And Homeward Bones just allow you to basically travel from one bonfire to Firelink Shrine or another. It's basically a pretty good item to save lots of time, because that's definitely way faster than just warp from one bonfire to another. So here we are on the high wall of Lothric. Every speedrunner, and I would say not only speedrunner, just challenge runner, definitely knows this location if they have reset based runs, because definitely lots of runs were ruined on this location, which is pretty classic. Here we want to pick up some first item that is very, very important in the early game, and basically in all game, but in early game we just have an access to only 2 of them, and that's called Gold Pine Resin. And this item allows you to apply lightning on your weapon in your right hand, and Gold Pine Resin is incredibly overpowered, like for how free it is here, because it basically allows you to demolish second boss, which is very, very nice. That's what we need for speed. But we only have 2 of them, so we need to be pretty careful with the amount of items we have. Since it's glitchless, we don't have like any duping or glitches and stuff like that that will allow us to have an infinite amount of resources. So for example, if you have like certain amount of souls, you should only play around them, and you cannot like buy extra stuff. Or you can, for example, if you lose your souls, you can dupe them back. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You still can continue a run and you can back it up, but it will not be as easy. So that's why glitchless categories are very, very challenging. And they're definitely one of the most interesting ones. Basically, why they're like incredibly popular among the souls community of DS3 at least. We talk to Emma, we drink Essos Flask, and now we actually prepare our gold pine resin, because there will be Vordt right now. Vordt is our second boss of the run after Gundyr. As I said, he will be pretty straightforward, pretty straightforward because we have gold pine resin. But it doesn't mean that we can just chill on Vordt, even though boss is really not that complicated. Main strategy with Vordt will be just to stay closer to his tummy. And basically that's it. Here is our funny guy Vordt. We apply resin and just go under him. And that's it. If you stay under him, like basically almost all his attacks just miss you, so you can just chill. So you just go under him and here we go. Pretty straightforward so far. And we stagger him so he doesn't go for any charges. Then we roll. And here we go. And we take this bonfire, and instead of quitting out of the game to skip this door animation, which has rest on the bonfire, and doors open. RTA strats, basically. Then we go to a third location, and that is called Undead Settlement. Undead Settlement is a pretty annoying location, honestly. It's not really as maybe annoying as Highwall. Actually, it can be even more annoying, I would say. First thing that we pick up here is Alluring Skulls. That's a specific item that is very important in this run. It allows us to attract certain type of enemies that are called hollows. Like for example, this guy is behind us. Or dogs as well. They're also hollow. And if you throw it away, basically you will attract them to attack that skull and to move that certain direction, which allows us to take some very precious time during some boss fights or some running locations. And showcase of how Alluring Skull works, a perfect showcase will be just right now, because we're going to our next boss, that is Greatwood of Cursed Rotted Greatwood. Yeah, basically. So we want to already prepare it. Then we want to prepare bundles and Soul of Vordt, because we want to save our time as much as we can, and if we can use some items during boss fight, that's very, very nice for us. But so far it's pretty straightforward. We just need to grab two more items here in Undead Settlement. First one is this Crystal Lizard. We want to kill it, because it has a very, very important upgrading item for us that is called Sharp Gem. And Sharp Gem allows us to infuse our weapon with Sharp Infusion. Sharp Infusion grants our weapon scaling with Dexterity, which gives us more damage, and with a certain weapon that will be later, we will have it a lot. We'll have a lot of damage, but for now, we need to stick to Short Sword, because we don't have this weapon, and we don't have an access to a good amount of Dexterity as well. And the second item that we picked up here is Mortician's Ashes. Ashes is like an item that allows you to extend your shopkeeper's arsenal. So we can buy more items. We can acquire some fire resin with this Ashes, and also some extra Alluring Skulls, which is very, very good for this run. And here is Greatwood boss fight. Here is the perfect showcase of Alluring Skulls. We go as close as we can to Greatwood, throw it away, and start attacking Greatwood. And now hollows will not be a problem for us, because they're looking for this Alluring Skull, and we just take our time, basically, while trying to kill Greatwood in phase 1. Then goes phase 2. We try to stick to Greatwood's belly. Very nice. And 6 hits to finish it. Very, very good. Very straightforward, very solid. And once we hear boom, which is Bonad. Pretty straightforward, let's go. Third boss is done. A lot to go. A lot to go, and now we need to prepare our sorcerer stuff. Because we're back to almost beginning of Undead Settlement, but now we need to skip all this location. It's pretty easy to do. Now we just need to turn to the other side and go across this bridge that is in front of us. Basically, we go here. Greatwood also gave us a bunch of souls that we will use later, which is very nice. Very, very good. Allows us to have like some bunch of items before next boss, which is actually one of the hardest in a run. And that's not even a joke, because Abyss Watchers is a very, very difficult boss in this route. So my friend Hemlocks will be doing a early DLC route, which fights Watchers was +5, but it has a pretty difficult beginning because you need to run through first DLC, where enemies deal lots of damage, but you also get lots of upgraded materials, and that allows you to get rid of Watchers pretty easily. While this route doesn't waste time on running through DLC 1 in the beginning, but you go straight forward to Abyss Watchers, and obviously it just makes Abyss Watchers very, very difficult, like really difficult. For new players, it's an actual roadblock, and that's why this route, the one that you can see right now on the screen, is considered as the harder one, like a really hard one, because you need to actually learn Watchers by law. So we're in the Road of Sacrifices, and basically if we have any donations, it's a very good time for them. Because this location is pretty boring, and there's like just a corridor that's where nothing happens until we reach approximately this bonfire right behind this corner. After that, like, Crucifixion Woods location starts. And yeah, here we actually grab some items that are, I would say, key items for this run, because the first item that we actually need is Grasscrest Shield. Grasscrest Shield allows us to regen stamina passively, and I would say it's like one of the most iconic items for all Souls games, because it's like very iconic for DS1, I know, very iconic for DS3, not really as iconic for DS2, but still. Grab Bonfire here, and we grab our Grasscrest Shield right here. Here we go. Next item that we need to pick up is Green Blossoms. They also raise our recovery speed of stamina, but by a lot. And that's why we have only 4 of them. They're very precious. Like, we don't want to waste lots of them. We want to use them only on specific bosses where blossoms are actually needed. Abyss Watchers will be one of them. And here we go, like, we pick up our weapon of choice for the rest of the run, that is Sellsword Twin Blades. After we kill all the bosses in early game, we will basically use this weapon because it's extremely OP, extremely overpowered. All people who have ever played casually DS3, not even speedrunning or something like that, know perfectly how OP Sellsword Twin Blades are in PvE. In single player, they're extremely overpowered, so... and they're very, very accessible. So that's basically our weapon of our choice. Here we do a very cool tech that is called Fall Damage Cancel. It looks very, very cool. And it also deloads visual textures around. So it looks very, very cool, I would say. That's maybe one of my favorite Fall Damage Cancels in the run. It saves actual 5 seconds, which is insane. So yeah. And now we use that tech that I was talking about with Dagger that is called Quick Step. Basically, every single weapon in DS3 has a special tech called Weapon Art. And Weapon Art for Dagger is Quick Step. Quick Step allows you to dodge certain attacks by having iframes, invisibility frames, with those jumps. But also, people use those jumps just to jump through swamps faster. Because it works, you know, it's just the faster way, and that's it. And that's why it's a pretty unusual way of actually using weapon during the speedrun. Like using dagger, I mean. So here we need to also pick up some extra items, because here goes the preparation right before Watchers. Watchers is our next boss, and it will be very, very soon. But we also need some items for it. And these items are Titanite shards that allows us to upgrade our weapon at least to +1. Like our our goal right now to reach raw +1 short sword. That will at least have some damage for Watchers. And you will see how not easy this fight is. Barely in 3 minutes. Or maybe even 2, I don't know. But yeah, here now we have like lots of groups around, and that's where we actually gonna quit out, because quit out resets all the position of mobs around you. So you can use quit out to get rid of annoying grooves here in swamps, because they're very, very persistent. Now we basically run past that bridge and bone out to Farron Shrine. Ooh, that was lucky, dude. Okay, that was very lucky. Alright, so here we are in the Farron Shrine, and we give Handmaidens these ashes. And since we can buy infinite amount of charcoal pine bundles, we just buy 12. 12 is a lot, and we'll need it for mid-game as well. And here we upgrade our short sword to raw +1 condition, and we upgrade our Estus flask as well. Basically, it allows us to have 6 charges, which is insanely a lot for early game. It's a very, very, very good amount of charges, so we'll be happy with that, because for Watchers you want them. You want to have them in a pretty good amount. The last thing that we're gonna do before Watchers, we're not gonna do it right now because this upgrade will not matter, but we'll do it after already. We're just gonna pick it up right now. Is Undead Bone Shard. It increases... Oh, thank you. It increases our Estus Flask efficiency. So it will heal more with this Undead Bone Shard. And this upgrade will actually increase heal from Estus Flask by almost maybe like by 2 times, I guess. Like it's really a lot. From +0 to +1 upgrades it's like very, very huge. So we really, really want it. So here goes the door of Abyss Watchers. Want to prepare bundles and Green Blossom. This fight will be pretty complicated. That was close, dude. And that's gonna be even harder because we're now poisons. But thank God we have 6 Estus left, so it's gonna allows us to allow us to heal before, which is very nice. But yeah, usually if this happens, poison really makes it more difficult. But let's prepare our bundles. This fight is gonna be hard now since we're poisoned. That's a very unlucky opener, unfortunately, because we need to take damage here. We try to bait him with this parry attacks. Nice. It's a pretty difficult fight, so it's like pretty. You need to be really aware of all the attacks that are happening on the screen. Very nice. First phase is done. I used one more bundle than needed, but it's fine. We can just buy one more bundle later. And here goes the second phase. That's bad. All right. That's pretty unlucky so far. Alright. That's a very bad fight with Watchers, but understandable. Alright, that's a good attack. And we should be able to finish him right now. Here we go. That was very bad, but well, we take what we have. We activate this altar, and now we're gonna rest on the bonfire. This fight was very, very bad right now performance-wise. But also, you need to be very lucky, and also we were poisoned, so we take it. But also, that's a good thing about bundles. You can buy them infinitely. So basically, what we can do, we can just later buy a bit more, and it will not be a problem at all. Here we just drop down the catacombs because we don't need anything in the other part of catacombs. There is a very cool skip that is called Fence Skip, and it's better not to try it, but I will. Oh, it actually worked. That's actually cool. From controller, it's incredibly hard to do, but yeah, usually people use keyboard for that, because from controller it's very, very inconsistent. So it's better not to try, even on a real run, not even for a marathon. But it works, I don't know. Let's go. Marathon luck, maybe. And so we pick up like some more ashes and large titanite shards. These ashes, since we're like closer to the mid game, these ashes allow us to buy titanite shards that are needed for +3 upgrades in an infinite amount, which is very nice. So that's the exact reason why we pick them up. And also they contain bleed resin, which we will need for certain bosses. But about that later. We have a very funny skeleton here. His name is Lord Wolnir, but he will be way, way easier than Watchers. Watchers are, as I said, like a huge roadblock. This guy will not be a roadblock at all. He's a pretty scripted fight. You just need to precisely count hits on bracelets and not to hit too early. That's very, very important. So we're gonna start with 6 hits on his bracelet, on his first bracelet. We need to break 3. Here we go. 6 hits in the first one. Light 1 bundle. 2. We need 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. Light another bundle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Basically, pretty scripted fight, but there's still like some moments that you, as you said, you need to mention, is you need to keep in mind, and these moments are about counting hits. Like, you need to manage your stamina correctly. It looks pretty simple, but it's actually not really that simple, because there is some moments, like on some bracelets, you cannot attack too early, because it will completely mess it up with hits, and you will need to hit more. And if you mess up fight with Wolnir, it will not be great. But next boss will be actually one of the simplest ones, Crystal Sage. Before that we get our last upgraded material before we go to Firelink Shrine. And we grab this bonfire. This bonfire we will need in the very end of the game, in the very late. After that we just bone out. So here goes our first our first upgrading section. We just sell everything here. Grave Ward and Ashes. We buy 2 more. No, actually I will buy 3 more bundles. We'll need 3 Carthus Rouge. We'll need 11 bones and 12 Titanite shards. Very good. We upgrade our Sellsword Windows to +4 and infuse it with Sharp Infusion. Do I have 1 more skull? Yes, I do have. That's perfect. And now, as I said, like, we finally level up Dexterity. And Dexterity will allow us to have a lot of damage. So that's basically what we need in this situation. 35 Dex is good. Very, very nice. And we burn 1 more Bone Shard to increase the efficiency of our Estus Flask. And here we go to sort of a mid-game section of a run. Basically, early game is over. Kinda ends on the moment where you upgrade your Twin Blades and you get a real weapon, because Short Sword is basically just a solution for early game, and that's it. Nothing really else. First boss that we kill is Crystal Sage. Crystal Sage is very straightforward. He's pretty easy, and it has the only like unique feature Crystal Sage has 2 cycles. You just want to read crystal patterns. But these crystal patterns are always... they only have 3 variations if you go to a certain place. So we just trigger first teleport once we deal damage, and we go to a certain place. And these crystals allow us to understand that he will be here. And here we go. That's basically it. Pretty straightforward fight. Nothing special. We just move on. We just move on, and we are on our way to Deacons. Here we're gonna pick up our choice of fashion. Herald's Armour. Here we go. Not only because it has cape, and cape is cool, but also because this armor will affect immensely on Oceiros. And Oceiros has a very, very funny feature where you actually, if you don't equip a certain armor, he will one-shot you with 1 attack. But if you equip certain pieces of armor, you will survive literally on 1 hit point, on 1 health point. So that's very important to have this armor, and it's just generally it's good. It's like right on our way. Teleporting dogs basically strike again. Please help. We need to open this door because there is Gael here, and we're gonna quit out just to get rid of these dogs, because there is like 2 dogs and they're insanely aggressive. They always teleport, so we want to get this bonfire. And if these dogs are close to you, you won't be able to get this bonfire. Here's Gael. Hello, Gael, but we'll need you later, buddy. Because right now, Gael is our access to first DLC, I'm sorry. But we don't need it right now. Here is one more item that we need. Estus shards. Thank you very much. And that's a pretty good time for some donations if we have any, because there's a long way to Cathedral, to Deacons, so... Yep, feel free. Because this location is pretty boring, basically. Like, nothing really happens. Honestly, it's just a straightforward running section up to Cathedral and blah blah blah. And something like that. Nothing really special. No really like huge amount of cool enemies, just like hollows stranding around, and that's it. Kinda like that. So yeah, back to Cathedral. Basically, we're making our way to one of the most honestly annoying bosses of all the runners. That is called Deacons of the Deep. Boss is not very super creative, it's just a bunch of mobs, but if they're very aggressive, they can actually kind of waste a bunch of time, and yeah, that's not very cool. Lots of runs were ruined by Deacons, so you still need to keep an eye on them, because it can be pretty problematic. Here we want to quit out because in this particular situation, with this door, there is so many enemies around that you cannot just go away. Like, better to quit out. It's not really as simple to run away here without quit out. And want to prepare our spook here, because there will be a huge fall down. But before we do that, we'll pick up one of the key rings for this run that is called Lloyd's Sword Ring, which is incredibly good ring that allows us to get an extra damage if we have full HP, which is incredibly good. It gives us 10% of damage, which is very, very nice. Here are the funny giants. We try to stay closer so he misses an attack, because if he doesn't miss, he will just one-shot us. It's not very funny. And he also can throw some dirt, which is also not very funny, so we try to dodge it. And as previously, dagger here helps us immensely, basically, with all this dirt to jump through that and also to dodge it, because it also gives us some iframes. So that's very nice. Finally, after second swamp, we can switch back to Twin Blades, and we can switch to Herald's Armour finally. Looks very nice. And here goes the Deacon's fight. For Deacon's fight, we're pretty much not overpowered. Damage is good, but we don't have much HP. And the only reason we will have is Charcoal Pan Bundle that we'll use in second phase on Archdeacon. That's basically the only thing we need in this fight. So our goal in first phase is to kill 5 Deacons that have a red orb on them. Basically where it falls, you just want to kill that Deacon. So we need to kill 5. And this fight already shows how annoying it is. Because Deacons start just basically spamming fireballs. And here we go. And in second phase, Archdeacon appears and you just want to kill him. Pretty much straightforward. After that, we bone out to Last Rested. Because we don't forget about our guy Gael. And he was waiting us there and we just need to talk to him a bit. We just basically try to talk fast because it's a speedrun. No time to talk slow. We accept anything he offers us. Basically, he offers us to go to DLC 1. And this way we unlock the bonfire in DLC 1. So we don't waste our time later. And then we just bone out like this. So DLC 1 bonfire is unlocked. Now we can go to Irithyll. A very, very cool location. But at the same time, pretty dangerous. Especially for glitchless, because problem with glitchless Irithyll is that you need to run through that. And that's it. In glitchful runs, you usually skip it. And that's very comfy, but you cannot do that in glitchless runs. Here, you actually need to run through, and Irithyll is full... basically is full of very annoying enemies that can burn you with the pyromancy, with fire, and that's not very fun. They deal a very huge amount of damage, so we will need to even change our armor to Assassin's Armor. We also want to use our soul, because there is a funny dog behind us. Here is this dog. Want to stay on a certain spot on the snow and hit it twice, and here we go. And if we kill the dog, we get the Pontiff's Right Eye, which is a very, very important ring for this run, along with Lloyd's sword ring. This ring allows us to get more damage as our attacks extend. Basically, more longer our combo persists. Basically, more we attack, more damage we'll have, which is very, very nice. And with Twin Blades, since it's paired weapon, it counts for both blades. So with one hit, you get 2 stacks, which is very good. It's very, very convenient. And since DLC bosses are very, very tanky, we'll need it, for sure. We will definitely need it. That's the exact reason why Irithyll is pretty difficult, because there's everything that's going around, including these 2 knights. There's lots of fire and I don't know, explosions and hollows trying to attack you, so it's pretty scary. But here it's done. Here it's finally done. We actually don't need sorcerer stuff. I don't know why I picked it up. We need to switch back our armor, and we're on our way to Pontiff. Pontiff's gonna be pretty much straightforward, I would say, if you don't miss the parry. Because if you miss the parry, well, it's not gonna be that funny. So it's better not to. If it's possible, of course. Here we just dodge a bunch of invisible guys, because they're pretty annoying. And they try to hit you, but, well, unsuccessfully. I grab also some extra green blossoms, because there is a bunch of bosses in this run that we want to use green blossoms on. We already used it one on Watchers. But there is so many bosses ahead, so yeah, we'll need some more. We're on our way to Distant Manor, basically this chapel right here, because there is a bonfire. And this bonfire allows us to go to 2 different places. If we go downstairs, we'll go to Yhorm, but now we will need to go to Pontiff firstly, because there are some ashes that we want to pick up, and these ashes will allow us to upgrade our weapon even more. So firstly we'll go here, and we will need to encounter some very funny dogs here. Again, These ones are probably the most difficult ones. Not the most difficult, most dangerous ones. Because, to be completely honest, sometimes you can just run through this valley of dogs without any problems. But sometimes they will just eat you alive immediately, like in seconds. So, that's the reason why you want to have Illyrian Skulls for these guys, because, well, that's pretty scary without them. We prepare our parry shield, because it will be a Pontiff boss fight right now. And we equip our armor here. And throw one skull away, so we attract 2 dogs here. Because in total there is 4. And if 2 dogs can be annoying, like imagine how 4 will be annoying. And here we go, already. That's the exact reason why you want to have skulls here. Oof. Okay, that's gonna be actually hard now. So the only thing that I want to do right now is grab my grab my souls back. So what we're gonna do is we need to go back to Firelink Shrine. So let me do that real quick. Since we have like extra bones, we cannot risk here. And it's really important to pick up the souls back. We'll just go back right now. And we're gonna sell Crystal Sage's Soul, and we're gonna buy 2 Illyrian Skulls just to make sure. With 2 Illyrian Skulls, 100% you can go through this place. Unfortunately, usually you have only 1, because you need to anyway throw that to first dogs, but you don't have a second one, unfortunately. Well, that's basically what happened right now. So we're gonna have, this time, 2 skulls. It's a bit slower to get them, because, well, it's an extra trip to Firelink Shrine. But it's safe in this case, so that's very nice. We're gonna do that. So we're basically making our way back. If we have any donos, that's a very good time. Etc, etc. Go through this room again. Prepare our stuff. And here we go. Now we prepare our Illyrian Skulls again. Basically, all we need to do right now is just to grab our souls, and that's it. Grab our souls and run through this location, because, as I said in Glitchless, if you lose your souls, that's gonna be very difficult. So we just throw another skull, and as you can see, like, dogs just run away. It's very convenient, but a bit slower. So yeah. But this time we're good. So we have no problems, as you can see. Skulls are very, very important for this run. So yeah, something like that. Here is Pontiff's Cathedral, basically the one we want. We need to dodge that last guy here. I should have 1 amber, yes. I'm gonna use it here just before, because it grants us a bit of a more HP. And let's start fight with Pontiff. We basically want to use our parry shield during it. We parry the first attack, immediately riposte, switch to 2-handed, 2 attacks, parry again, riposte again. This time we go around him, because he will go to phase 2, so we want to kind of pause it a bit. 4 attacks, go away from him, he does an explosion. We stagger him and finish him. Perfect. Pretty straightforward, usually not a problem. This fight is, but still. If you miss your parry, without Ember you will die. So I just decided to make it kinda safe. Parrying is not really that difficult, but human factor always works. Like, you can just mess it up, so it's better not to risk. So we're in a pretty beautiful location right now. Like, DS1 fans will recognize it soon. But here, we firstly, instead of looking at landscapes, we need to get a very important item that is another ashes, that is called Esterner's Ashes. And these ashes allow you to upgrade your weapon to +6, because you get large Titan shards, as you can see right now, the one that I picked up. We can buy them infinitely with these ashes. And here they are. But before we gonna upgrade our Twin Blades, we're gonna kill Aldrich with +4. And Aldrich with +4 might be the hardest boss of a first part of a mid game, because I would say first part of a mid game is where you play with +4, and second part will start after we upgrade our weapon to +6. Late game will be obviously only in DLCs, like starting from DLCs. So here we hold the lever of elevator, and we can use some souls, and we can also pick up an ember, and it's honestly a very good time as well for some like couple of donations, because this animation of elevator is pretty long. That's actually like the longest animation in the game. It's like 15 seconds maybe. Even like quitting out in this case is honestly faster than just waiting for it, but I guess it's a pretty good time for just donos. Oh, my camera ran out of charge. I'm sorry. I haven't got like my dummy battery for camera yet, because it's a new DSLR camera. So yeah, my apologies, honestly. But yeah, let's go. We picked up we picked up basically this bonfire in Enerlanda just for safety. And as I said, like DS1 fans will recognize this location because it's basically the same Cathedral of Enerlanda as in DS1. But here, instead of Ornstein and Smoke, we'll find Aldrich, and he will not be that easy, honestly. So firstly, we'll need to go here. There is a pretty funny jump that is called Slime Skip, or Slime Jump, because for some reason you don't take fall damage from jumping across this peril, and you need to jump either on the slime or like close to them. And I don't know, we just started calling it Slime Skip because it's funny. So yeah, here we go. Here is Aldrich. Aldrich is a pretty cycled fight. We want to use bundles in each of the cycles. Preferably if we can do 2 cycles. Fight is not really that easy, I would say. So we need to be careful. Here goes the second cycle. He's in second phase now, so he has a fire after him. And he should be done. Here we go. Pretty straightforward, actually. Wasn't really a big of a deal, but it's better to be careful. We just bone out after that to Firelink Shrine. And now we can go to upgrades. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna give the ashes. We're gonna sell Aldrich Soul, and we're gonna buy 9 here. And we don't really need any other stuff here because we have everything. Now we just reinforce our weapon to +6. Reinforce our SOS to 7 charges because we had 1 extra shards. And now we can upgrade our dex to 39. And 17 endurance is the most important part. Basically, 17 endurance gives us 5 attacks with Twin Blades, which is very nice. Because on some bosses like Champion Gundyr and Oceiros, it will help a lot. But here goes the second part of a mid game, which is actually a pretty difficult part. I can say it's not the most difficult part, but it's pretty difficult. So firstly, we go to Yhorm. Yhorm is the easiest boss among these that we need to face right now. Because after that, there will be some sort of boss rush. We'll have like one boss after another. And that's why it was really important to get some very cool levels as 17 endurance and a bit more dexterity, so we have more damage. Here through Irithyll Dungeon, we just run straight forwards. It's a pretty much of a maze, but in speedrun it's not really that big of a deal. You just run through and really don't pick up anything except Pelpine Resin. There's a very funny parkour that is called Dungeon Skip right here, you will see right now. Roll here. And here is the cage, as you can see, right in front of us. We just go to the side, run on this ledge, and backstep. And here we go, we skip all the dungeon. That's why it's called Dungeon Skip. Pretty fun. Very, very simple, but looks cool. And since it looks cool, that's the most important part. Here's the funny gargoyle. Also pretty straightforward. So yeah. Basically never has any threats for a player. But Yhorm can have, actually. Like, Yhorm seems to be the, like, pretty simple boss, but if you don't fight him correctly, you can... Yeah, you can die, honestly, even. Because he deals pretty much huge amount of damage. We pick up one more Undead Bone Shard here, and we pick up this bonfire. It's very important. We will need this bonfire for later, since we do all the bosses. And now we cast Spook. Wait until floor is loaded. Then we jump. It's a pretty good visual cue to know that we will not die. We don't roll this fireball, and we just jump to the right side, dodge the second fireball, and here we go. Now goes the Yhorm fight. Yhorm is a pretty gimmick fight. You kill Yhorm with a specific weapon that is called Stormruler, that deals a huge amount of damage to Yhorm. You basically kill him in 5 hits. But you need to firstly charge this greatsword, so it does it releases a charge of some storm or whatever. So we don't kill him with our regular weapon, that is Twin Blades. We need to firstly pick it up right here, and then change it, and then we need to charge it. We go under Yhorm. We try to stay all the time under him, so he does this attack that allows us to basically charge Stormruler was 100% chance. During transition we do it once again, and we try to bait him for this attack once again. That's basically the key strategy here. Here we go. We try to aim for head as well, in case he gets a headshot. Because head hits are very, very important. They give you extra time to charge Stormruler. But we're unlucky. We didn't get any hits. And he just did 3 stomps, which is usually very, very unlucky for all the speedrunners. But it's fine. Still, as you can see, pretty simple fights. We switch our weapons and apply resin on Twin Blades. Next boss is Dancer. Dancer is gonna be pretty cool. It's my personally for me, like, one of them favorite fights in base game. It's very, very aesthetic. But it's not very that difficult. But at the same time, it's very cool because you can strafe most of the attacks. You still need to learn, still need to roll some. We take this basin, it triggers the Dancer boss fight. And we try to stick to the right side. As in any boss fight, almost. You want to count hits. Which is honestly not a surprise. And then we try to kill her while she starts spinning. Or we just try to survive, because I honestly kinda messed it up a bit. But as you can see, it's still a pretty straightforward fight. The only actual hard part was when she started spinning. I honestly made a mistake, because you need to start kind of controlling her during the spins. She should start spinning clockwise, and she did it counterclockwise. But it's not that big of a deal, as you can see. Like, we still survived, like, and we're on our way to Oceiros. So one boss after another, and after another again. Because Oceiros will be literally like in a minute. Like, we need to firstly grab this bonfire, because also, like, with distant manner, like, there is 2 ways where we can go. Firstly, we will need to go to Oceiros down there to the garden, and then we will need to go forward, basically the opposite direction of where this knight is. Like, we'll need to go there. So we're gonna rest here, recharge all our Estus flasks, and then we go to Oceiros and Champion Gundyr. 2 actually pretty difficult fights in this case, I would say. We'll need for both of them, like, specific resins. As for all the bosses, we will need Bleed for Oceiros and Lightning for Champion Gundyr. But for Oceiros being, like, one of the honestly, most annoying fights will need a Blossom as well. So the first thing that we'll need to do is we'll need to try to get a scripted Oceiros. There's a very cool strat that is called scripted Oceiros. You need to count your hits, like, all the time. And this way you can basically just hit the first stagger and he will never get rid of the stagger and you will just kill him. That's why it's called scripted. But if it goes out of control, fight can be pretty hard, pretty difficult. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna equip certain set of armor. Assassin's Hood, Assassin's Armor, Herald Gloves, Herald Trousers, because it will allow us to minimize damage from Oceiros' charge. Basically the most important attack to dodge in this fight. So we start counting, starting from the first attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's very bad. 6. We can heal twice here. 7, 8, 9, 10 and a half. Now we wait. We stagger. 2 head hits. Then we repost him. And finish him. That's how scripted Oceiros approximately works. So basically the only RNG phase is the first phase. After that we just kill him without almost any problems. That's why scripted Oceiros is very, very cool to perform, because it you kinda get rid of all the RNG in second phase. But at the same time you need to experience first phase, and that's a big problem with current boss, because, well, boss is extremely annoying sometimes in first phase. He jumps around like a lot and wastes your time and sometimes wastes your healing resources. So here goes the secret location that is called Undead Graves. We grab this bonfire because strat with Champion Gundyr is probably one of the most beautiful ones, if not the most beautiful one. But it's also pretty, I would say, pretty complicated. And you will need to do it only first try. From second try it will not work out. So we'll need to be careful with that. We'll need gold pine resin or human pine resin. Gold pine resin is better, and we have it, so we're gonna use it now. Perfect. Now we're gonna equip all our armor. Gonna dodge these hollows. And here's basically Champ Gundyr. We don't need a Blossom for this fight, but we'll need a parry shield, and we will already have it equipped. So we start this L1, R1. L1, prepare our shield. Parry. L1, R1, L1 again, parry shield. 3 L1s. Now we need to roll into his attack, strafe it, and finish him. Here we go. And then once he basically falls down on a knee, we can just bone out. Very, very cool strat to perform. Very, like, looks very aesthetically beautiful. But now we need to go to DSA, which is Dragonslayer Armour. Also a very, very technical fight. I would say, like, there is lots of fights in mid-game that are very, very technical. Like Champion Gundyr, like DSA, like Princess. There is a lot of cool fights like that. And that's why all bosses is such a cool category, because you fight lots of very, very interesting bosses, especially in DLCs. Like, for example, Gael. Gael is gonna be great. But we'll need to wait. We'll need to wait because Gael will be in a while. For now, what we need to do is we need to go across that bridge with Wyverns. And to do that, safe without any problems, we're just gonna without approximately here, not to get burned by this flame of Wyverns, because, well, it hits kind of hard. And here we go. And we're safe. With full HP, without any problems. Very nice. For DSA, we'll need pale pine resin, which is magic resin. Because magic is basically the best against DSA. Equally with fire, but we don't have to buy fire, since we pick up like 2 magic resins right on our way to Yhorm. We eat Green Blossom for this fight as well, because it's very, very important. It kind of makes it much easier to perform strat, because here we also want to count hits to kill DSA in 1 stagger. So what we're gonna do is we apply resin here and try to bait him for a certain side that we can strafe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go behind. 1, 2. Go a bit away again. 1, 2. And then we'll just finish him. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's it. It looked very simple, but it's actually not that simple. But that was a very, very good performance right now. It was a really, really good and solid DSA fight. So, yeah. If like anybody gets that on the run, they would be really nice with that, you know? So, yeah. We go straight forward, and here is Grand Archives. We definitely pick up a bonfire here. Because if you don't, pass through Archives is like 2.5 minutes, which is a lot. So we have any donations, that's a very good time for him. Because, well, Archives, like in the beginning, is not really that interesting. So, yeah. Just like a bunch of guys walking around, etc. Nothing really funny happening. And stuff like that. So yeah, here we go to the main hall of the Archives, where the Crystal Sage is. And here, if you don't manage your stamina correctly, you will have lots of troubles. So you want to be really, really careful, because that's a pretty much late game location. It's not like ultra late game like DLCs, but still mobs here damage you really, really hard, and so you want to be very careful, as I said. So, like here you want to keep sprinting. There will be a magic missile right now. Turn to the left. And go to that guy right in front of us. We'll try to hug him. Hello, buddy. And so he turns to the side and starts shooting. So this running section is like, it's full of small aspects that are never mentioned, but these aspects are incredibly important, because that allows you to run through this running section safely. Because if you don't, well, that's a big problem. It can be very problematic. Here goes the Gargoyle. Very fun. RNG from Gargoyle. Very nice. I hope that it will happen on the race. It's gonna be fun. And basically that's the end of our Archives. Like, the only thing that we will need to experience now is called Stairs of Death. I don't know why it's called like that, but people call it. Because it's actually, honestly, the most chill section. Like, the only thing that it has is 3 guys in the end, which are actually pretty safe, I would say. We'll grab the shortcut just to make sure, because better safe than sorry, you know? And here are the Stairs of Death. There is a bunch of mobs here, like literally a lot. But all of them are pretty much chilling. We'll just go straight forward, listen to the first crossbow shot, stop sprinting after it, till the full stamina, and we just run straight forward, roll if needed. And we can just run past these guys, almost without rolling. As you can see, it's not a problem at all, like, we just ran forward and that's it. Here it's still better to quit out though, because, well, it kind of makes it much, much easier. But, kind of, yeah. Because these knights behind you will be very, very annoying in this case. So, we want to eat Green Blossom, and here goes the princess fight, and I'll try to show Frozen Princess strat. I hope it will work in this case. We count our hits. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we'll wait for stamina. We do a specific combo. And we kill him with a firebomb distantly. And here we go. They don't see us. As you can see, look at his head. He's like not broken, but he cannot see, but he just cannot see us, you know, because he can hear. But if you just hit his buddy, younger brother Lothric, he will not see you. That's why it's called Frozen Princess. That's pretty funny. That's the only stealth skill in Souls, I don't know, in Souls running that I know, which is kind of funny. But here we go. That's how you easily get rid of Twin Princess, like, without any problems, by just killing them with stealth. And then we just bone out to Farron Shrine. Now we go back to Profane Capital. And here goes the last part of our mid-game section with upgrades as well, because after that, after this boss, we're gonna get ashes that will allow us to upgrade our weapon to +10, which is the final stage of upgrades. And after that, there will be DLCs. DLCs is the most the hardest part and the most interesting part at the same time of the run. And probably we will have some incentive for Gael, who is definitely 1 out of 2 hardest bosses in this run. Definitely. Probably only after Friede. But Gael is very, very complicated and hard fight, and we'll have a pretty much cool incentive for Gael. But I will keep it in secret for now, because that's gonna be actually pretty funny. So, basically, all we need to do right now is we need to choose Path of a Dragon, and we need to use it right here on this carpet with these guys sitting right next. We need to wait a bit, so the cutscene is triggered. So basically, we just skip it, because it's not needed. And we're in Archdragon Peak, which is sort of also a secret location. Here we need to get our ashes that will allow us to buy Titanite chunks right here. Titanite chunks is basically almost pre-last upgraded material that you need to upgrade your weapon to the max level. But before that, we need to face one of the bosses, which is honestly also sort of a gimmick boss, but it's way more technical than Yhorm, I would say. Not like Yhorm, we need to charge like some sort of a sword just to kill it like from 5 hits. We kill it in 1 hit, this boss, but this is gonna be more complicated than Yhorm, definitely. So we want to heal, we need to make sure that we're safe, we get a short sword and all the armor. Basically, weapon doesn't really matter that much in this fight, because Wyvern can die from anything. But we need to go to a specific spot firstly. We have some time to use some souls here. Basically, we're just waiting for Wyvern to come down here. Then we move to a specific patch of grass here. And we go up here and kill it in 1 hit. That is called Wyvern skip or chain snake skip, because on the top of this location there is a snake with a chain, which is probably one of the most annoying enemies in all Souls. I mean, all Dark Souls 3, sorry. That can easily kill you from a huge distance, and it has a very, very high damage. So, yeah. That's why it's called this way, chain snake skip. So, yeah. Now we need to make our way through Archdragon Peak, which is pretty much straightforward. You just run past and just look at funny snakes, except this one. This one is kind of scary, but you can still strafe it. It looks cool, but it's actually pretty scary. Not sure if we're gonna go for that strafe, but it looks pretty dang. So we go to the right side here. There will be some funny lizards that are not really that friendly, actually, but yeah, well, we need to roll them. We'll roll through this flame. If you can take no damage from this flame, you're a champion. Well, I'm not. And we're almost at the end of this location. The only 2 things that we need to do, let's heal some, we can make it a bit safer. We need to run past this snake summoner right here, that is right up the stairs. And there is a bonfire that we want to pick up, because there is a boss that's called Nameless King. My personally favorite boss of all Souls games. But it will be in the end. It will be later. Right now what we need to do is we need to go here and pick up some items. Not some items, actually one item only. We need to dodge that lizard, pick up this item, and bone out. That's basically it. Dragon Chaser's Ashes allow us to buy these chunks. And before going for all the upgrades, we're gonna speak to that lady. And we need to offer all the Cinders of Lords to their thrones. So in the shop, we're gonna have a Titanite slab, which allows us to upgrade our weapon to max level to +10. It only appears if you put all the ashes on thrones, so we need to do it firstly. We're also gonna go for some rest of the level ups before DLCs, because in DLCs we want to have like max level if possible. So we get 20 vigor and 29 endurance. 29 endurance specifically for 6 attacks with twin blades. Here we sell all souls that we have because we don't need them. And we buy following items: 11 gold pine resins, 20 gold pine bundles, 11 chunks, and 1 titanite slab. Perfect. And now we upgrade our twin blades to +10, and we are ready to go to the hardest part of this run, the coolest part at the same time. We skip cutscene, and while there is a black screen, we can just bone out blindfolded without using screen, because somehow during cutscene you can still do that. If you bone out to last reset, it will just teleport you to kill him the first flame. We light this bonfire for Soul of Cinder later, and now we go to DLCs firstly. Soul of Cinder will be our last boss of run, because I don't know, it's just very cool. Why not? And yeah, basically Drakeater. Second DLC, we start with it. DLC 1 will be the last one. Because in the end of a second DLC, you get a very, very nice ring that allows you to recover stamina faster. So it's better to kill Demon Princess early in the run. The location looks pretty scary. It has lots of screaming guys around, so we don't really want to stay too much here. And it's honestly a very, very good time for donations, because we have like time for, I guess, 2 donations or 3 before next skip. So feel free. And basically, yeah, while running through this location, like through the beginning of it, nothing much really happens. But right before Demon Princess, there is one of the skips in this run that it saves like a lot of time. So yeah. So yeah, basically going back to the game, right now we're coming closer to one of the skips on the run that actually saves the most of it, like, biggest amount of time. That is called Angel Skip, and it's called because of that guy right here that tries to shoot us. So the reason why we want to skip that guy is because he's very, very annoying, and even if you go through the regular way, it will be very slow. But if you do a jump in sequence here... Oh, that's actually a bad jump, but it's also a pretty difficult one. Like, the first jump is the hardest, basically. And we want to quit out here just to reset location, because this guy will be shooting us a lot. But this skip saves 45 seconds, which is a lot. That's a very huge amount of time. So we go here, jump to the left side, nice. And perfect. That's very good. That's how Angel Skip works. Basically, you just need to jump on the other side of a tower, and this way you skip all the location. That's very nice. Even like from second try on speedruns, it still saves a lot of time. But now there goes one of the most difficult fights actually in the run, so let's hope it will go good. We go to Demon Princess. So we go to a certain corpse on the floor. apply resin, and we try to kill first demon from below as fast as we can, because before second demon joins the fight. Oh, that's not very good. I kinda messed it up, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. Very nice. Still should be alright. Now, we killed the first guy before second has joined. That's very, very nice, because if they're both attacking you, that like chances of killing them are way, way smaller. Very, very nice. Basically, it's some sort of a straightforward strat like was Vordt in the beginning. You just try to stand under him and they miss most of their attacks. But here goes the second phase, and second phase is actually very complicated. We eat Blossom after hitting them for 8 times because it stacks bleed proc. Now we wait for explosion. And we go back and hit 4 times more, and now we want to spin them a bit. Perfect. And we want to try to lead them closer to the exit. Very nice. Now he goes for a stagger, we have some time to still hit him, and then after that we do a riposte. If he close to the wall, he will jump away. I feel like he will not actually right now. Oh, he will. Okay. But it doesn't matter, basically fight is over. And let's go. This fight in second phase is actually complicated. Like, you need to really control the situation to know when to attack and when to not, what he gonna do and what he not gonna do. So, yeah. This fight easily can go out of control, so we need to be very careful. But that's the only the first boss of DLCs. Next bosses will be harder. So here goes the Ring City. And in Ring City, well, in Ring City there is a Judicator. That guy, sitting right there to the right side. What we want to do with that guy is we want to skip him, and all we're gonna do is just, we're gonna run through this part of the street, and basically we're gonna hide here. After first portion of archers, we just jump down here. And here we go. Because these archers can easily just one-shot you. Not like one archer will actually one-shot you, but with the amount of archers there is like on the streets, it's gonna be too much damage. You won't be able to tank it at all. Usually runners here just do like immense amount of quit out, like 4 or 5. Depends. But we cannot do it here because it's gonna be slower. And it doesn't make any sense, honestly, in our case. So we just go around. It's a bit slower, but not that much. Roll through that guy, and now we'll need to go through all the Ringed City. It was a pretty scary part on Midir's Bridge, because in this DLC we'll meet a funny dragon. And this funny dragon will try to burn us alive with his fire. But well, I mean, basically, that's gonna be the scariest part, because this flame one-shots you no matter what, with current HP level. And we will not be able to tank it. And rolling that is kinda finicky, I would say. Because it seems like you can roll it, but it's not really that simple. So yeah, let's hope for the best. But for now, it's pretty straightforward, like, we'll just drop down right here and just run through all the second DLC. Try not to step in the circles. Also trying to dodge all the Herald Knights. And from this spot we can basically choose our dagger, because we will need it right now. We'll need it right now, and it's very important because that flame, as I said, like, it's pretty finicky to roll, but dagger makes it much easier for some reason. It's very, very easy to react with it, so we're gonna use it. We're gonna use it for these purposes. Judicator again summons some archers, but in this case they do not really matter because, well, they're pretty far. And here we go. Here goes the bridge with Midir's Flame. That's a very important part, so I hope like everything goes fine. Because it can just one-shot us. It's not gonna be fun. Oh yeah, that's the exact problem of this Midir's Flame. So yeah, basically I just honestly pressed too early, but yeah, that's the problem with this Midir's Bridge. Like, you don't really lose anything at this point of run, like, it's completely fine. But if you die to this place, it's not really that great, so we'll need to go through Ring City again. And I guess that's a pretty good time for donations. Because, well, I mean, pass through Ring City is actually pretty long. So we have some time before Bridge Midir. And it's definitely like one of the longest running sections, so yeah, the donations here will be actually very nice. Oh, not really cool. So yeah, we'll prepare our dagger again. Doesn't matter, we can do that like pretty much before or after, just it's very important before the bridge, and that's it, because dagger makes it much easier to roll through. Judicator is actually a good spot for the second time. That's pretty lucky. In this spot, like, if Judicator is here, like, we don't need to quit out. Very nice. And here we go, we're back on the track. Okay, let's hope this time Midir's Bridge gonna be fine. Very nice. As you can see, it still deals lots of damage, so we definitely want to jump down right now. Very nice. We'll just wait a bit here. Here goes the flame. And then we'll just drop right here from this ledge. Maybe with ons. Here we go. Nice. So yeah, Bridge Midir is passed, but now we actually need to kill that guy. Because to access a fight with Bridge Midir, firstly you need to kill it on the bridge. So Midir falls down. And to do that, we'll need to use a kind of an interesting strat. So the trigger for Midir is before a room with a bonfire. So we're gonna quit out right here to reset his position. So he will do a scripted flight through this bridge, and he wastes his time. So we don't have to fight him in a less convenient position. So quit out before this room. As you can see, he's like flying there, basically flaming all the bridge. And we, during that time, we have plenty of time to run to this position and starts hitting Midir's head. Very nice. Very good start. Hit once more. 3 attacks. 1, 2, 3. And L1, R1, L1. Maybe actually more. So yeah, here we go. That's basically Bridge Midir. Usually kinda simple. But here goes the Midir boss fight, basically. And that's not gonna be simple. So with Midir, there is a very interesting strat that is called Scripted Midir. How it works is, if you hit certain amount of times and Midir on each cycle, and you'll be in a certain position, he will do only scripted attacks all over again. But it only can work on the first try when you fight Midir for the first time. And yeah, that's the exact reason why it's important not to mess it up. Because even if you mess it up, it's just better not to die. And you're good then. Because Catacombs of Midir allows you to hit Midir lots of times in the beginning. Here we count. 1, 2, 3. And then we can jump. It's definitely safe. I never died to it, surely. Yeah. And we switch to Twin Blades. And for this fight, we will need some Gold Pine bundles. Basically the reason why we got so many. So let's fight Midir. We can wait for him to wake up. Hit once. Go a bit to the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Roll for his attack to the right. Then we follow one of these pillars right here. Try to go closer. 4 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go outside of the flame. And script kind of broke, but it's fine. It's like the easy... it's like not the easiest strat, but just like at this point it's like the only goal is not to die. Which is honestly pretty simple because Midir is not really that hard. You just fight him like and chill. He will transition now. 1, 2. We go outside of his explosion. 1, 2. And here we go, he's done. So even if the script broke, as you can see, it's still a not really super complicated fight. And we just kill him and bone out to last rested. Once his wing touches the ground. Here we go. That's Midir. Next boss is upcoming, and it's probably the most hateful boss of all bosses speedrunners. Maybe not even speedrunners, I would say challenge runners who play in offline. And this boss is called Halflight. Halflight is a huge pain. But there is also some tricks that we can do against him, so I hope the fight goes well. But this fight can actually easily easily go out of control. Not like Midir. Midir is some sort of controllable. So we prepare our Twin Blades, we finally grab the last ring, and we get some blossoms. So for Halflight we will need also actual green blossoms, like regular ones. And we just wait for this door to be open. So yeah, as I said, like Halflight fight is kinda complicated. Firstly, we need to do all the menuing before, because this guy will start speaking and you won't be able to open your menu in a fight. So that's really important. We light bundle, do L1, R1, L1, R1, and 4 L1s. Very nice. Then we go on this place where this root is. Once he stops speaking, we apply resin, and we try to get a backstab. Very nice. If we get a backstab, 2 jumps away. L1, L2, R1. Now we go to this specific spot. Wait for Halflight to appear. Eat Green Blossom once he appears. Strafe Soul Mass. That's not very nice. Alright. Now we just need to wait a bit. And here we go. That was not the best fight with Halflight. But honestly here, even though lots of stuff depends on you, some of the stuff doesn't depend completely. And here, honestly, unfortunately, we got unlucky with an attack where Halflight just started spamming hits, so I needed to roll backwards. So yeah, it was a bit unlucky, but as you can see, fight still went pretty well. But it's definitely not an easy fight. But now, here goes the one of the coolest fights, and at the same time, one of the hardest fights. I will show right now, obviously, a regular version of this fight. But if we had the incentive that's gonna be way cooler, I would say, even. And definitely not as usual. Oh, fight with Gael. But yeah, there is a long way to go. We'll need to run a bit to that stone arc, to that brick arc. And we need to use 2 blossoms during this fight, because this fight is actually very long. So we're gonna use first one right before fight starts, approximately here. And we'll use poison resin immediately once we appear. And here goes the fight. Gael staggers on each 5th hit, so we need to count. Three, 4, 5, 6. Now we can apply another resin because he's poisoned already. Very nice. First phase is done. Now we can prepare second blossom. That's a very good attack to start with. I want to strafe that attack, use blossom while he's doing a follow-up, and strafe the third one. Go away from the explosion. Go inside of the explosion. Very nice. Goes a bit scary, but we can still go with it. Very nice. Stagger him. He goes for explosion again, and now we can finish him. Very good. Very, very good, solid fight. Let's go. And now we just go back to Farron Shrine. So yeah, that's like one of the hardest fights, but not the hardest in my opinion. The hardest one is Friede. Sister Friede, yeah, she definitely will be harder. Now we go to Snowfield, and it's actual time for DLC 1. And yeah, if we have some donations, that's a pretty good time, because before one skip in this DLC, we have plenty. So yeah, feel free. Alright, thank you very much. So basically, we're in DLC 1. DLC 1 is supposed to be a bit easier, because it's like you kinda can access it like early in the game. But boss here is definitely the hardest one in the run, as I mentioned already. At least one of the bosses. Second one is not that hard, I would say. It's called Gravetender. We're gonna get a bonfire here because we want to do a pretty funny skip that is called Scream Skip. It's called like this because you skip a section where there is like lots of birds that are screaming in your face, and that's not very cool to listen to. But yeah, also like Scream Skip is a bit of a parkour, so that's funny. Parkour is cool. So we slide down this hill, and we'll need to go to the right side instead of going forward. Right here. And we'll try to perform a jump. That's called Scream Skip, as I said. Here we need to jump from a specific place. And we need to run up the rock. Like, it's not really jumping once. That's like really important to keep the distance. Here we go, finally. That's really, really important not to jump too late. Because, as you can see, you just get a rolling animation and you won't be able to start running up immediately. So you get like some sort of a landing. Now we climb up these rocks as well. And we go on this roof, basically skipping all this Korean village. Also, chat can choose now what soul to use, because we need to use one soul. So there's like Midir, Gael, or Demon Prince. So chat, feel free to say your opinion in. And we're gonna use one soul because soul is needed for some AI manipulation. For example, chat voted for Midir because it's my favorite soul. So we're gonna heal here, and Wilhelm is here, so we need to use soul and start moving backwards. So he starts running faster a bit, as you can see. That looks a bit weird and works a bit weird, but that's how it works because it's Dark Souls 3. It's a very cool game that we all like. But sometimes we cannot understand something in it. And we just kill him like that because this AI manipulation just allows you to make him go away from this church where he spawns, and he will try to go back. But during that way back, you can just punch him all the time and you'll be fine. And he will not attack you back. Because honestly, Wilhelm is... Oh, it's probably the hardest NPC to fight, honestly. I cannot remember the harder NPC to fight in this game legit. So, it's a very good way of killing him like that. Like, thank God we have something to kill him. Because fighting him legit is a bit faster, but it's very, very hard. It's very difficult, and he rolls away lots of times, so you actually need to learn him a lot. Probably... Not probably, definitely more than some bosses. So, yeah. That's very convenient that we have this strat. So, here, nothing much, pretty much straightforward. We just run through this DLC 1. All we need to do is just roll through some wolves, because they're pretty funny. Hello? Nice, thank you. There's like 2 Millwood Knights right in the end. Basically, last enemies that we'll need to dodge in DLC 1, and after that we'll have only bosses left in DLC 1. Because what we're doing right now, we're just running through all the DLC, and that allows us to get an access to contraption that is right here, as you can see, to the left side. But before that, we need to light a bonfire so we can go back. Yeah, and because otherwise, like, it will be just a bit slower, and we will need to somehow escape lots of flies down there that are very, very annoying, honestly. So, yeah, better not to risk. Here we'll also open this door, because it's an access to the second boss. And here is Friede already waiting for us. Definitely the hardest fight of this run, definitely. She's very, very difficult to fight. It's very, very technical fight. It's a very punishing fight as well. So it's never easy, and you cannot somehow peach it. You just need to adapt, and that's it. So we cancel us from the ledge here to drop closer. We pull the contraption. And after the cutscene, we just bone out to Last Rested. Very nice. So we'll start with the easier boss. We'll start with the Gravetender. Before Gravetender, there is a very, very cool parkour section that you will right now see. It's honestly the coolest parkour in the run. I very much like it. It's honestly one of these parkours that definitely ruined lots of people's runs. Because if you accidentally fall down with a spook activated, that's a glitch. You cannot perform it. So lots of people who ran all Bosses Glitchless perfectly know that place. But we'll try to do that without, obviously. As well. So here firstly we drop after this guy. Very nice. Then we go to this branch, and we need to jump straight forward from here, a bit to the right-ish, and drop down. And all of this you need to do in 30 seconds. It seemed a bit maybe simple, I would say, but it's actually pretty hard to do in 30 seconds while Spook before Spook expires. So yeah, that's really important. But yeah, here what we need to do, we need to prepare gold pen bundle. And here goes the Gravetender fight. Firstly, we need to get to these 2 wolves right here. We need to kill him. And then there goes the guy. We just basically cheese him with L1, R2. And we wait for him to start summoning his big brother Wolf, and we just kill him. Very nice. Now it's time for Wolf. We'll also use only 1 bundle because it's not needed anymore. And we try to trade with him here. Oh, that's bad. Very nice. He will start transitioning now, and we just finish him. And after that, once he raises his right paw, we just bone deck. Very good. Now it's time for a harder fight. And by harder fight, I mean, of course, Sister Friede and Father Ariandel. So, for this fight, we definitely need gold pine resin, and we need some blossoms. So, we'll prepare this, and this. First phase will be pretty straightforward. We don't even need to apply resin. We just need to bait her with this parry attack. And start outstrafing her attacks like this. And then punish it with 2 attacks. That's why I said before that this fight is very technical. Because you need to always keep this distance. That's basically the most important part. Then we finish first phase, prepare our shield. Bait her once again with this attack. Then run closer to Father Ariandel. So in this situation, Friede is really far. And she's not really that big of a problem. Yeah, of course she still can send this like ice trails. But it's not that big of a deal. So we can just wait for Ariandel to die. And now we just wait for third phase. And third phase is definitely the hardest one. It's very difficult and it's very easy to die. We go behind her, do L1, backstab, charge R2, 2 L1s. Oh, that was so lucky. That was very good, somehow. That was a really lucky Friede, honestly. That probably will not happen on the run, and honestly, even in my actual run, it would be a very good time save. But yeah, let's go now to ODK. Basically, we need to go to Abandoned Tomb. But yeah, that was a very good third phase. And we have only 3 bosses left, and it will be Old Demon King that we'll face right now. The most, basically, boring one. The one that we opened, like, long time before. The next one will be Nameless King, and the last one will be canonically Soul of Cinder. So, we're basically getting closer to the end of the game. All the DLCs are done. All the optionals are almost done. That's a classic to take a hit from Ballista. Basically, all the speedrunners' traditional bosses. Because usually Old Demon King is the last boss of a run. Because it's kind of easier to warp. And there was so many situations where people just take a hit, so it's like some sort of like already funny tradition to lose time on Ballista. But yeah, basically timings are always scripted for Ballista, so you don't even have to look at it, you can just roll it like that. Of course, if you don't mess it up like me. You can prepare Dark Sign, and ODK is very straightforward. It's like we just light a bundle. 5 hits while he's waking up. I put him in the second phase. 3 attacks here. And 2 attacks here to finish him off. And then we can just start boning out. Very nice. Time for Nameless King. So we need to go to a bonfire that's called Great Belfry. We need to... If we have 1 Blossom, I honestly just forgot to equip it like Wolnir is, because Nameless King, even though he is not in DLC, he is definitely the hardest fight in base game. That's for sure. So, yeah, it's better to have it. But, like, if you don't have it, it's completely fine. Because it's not really that big of a deal. It's just a pretty punishing fight because damage is actually pretty huge on this fight. We apply resin once the chicken lands. And we wait. That's a very good attack. That's actually lucky. Somehow marathon luck works. And we stagger. One hit and riposte. Very nice. That's a not very lucky attack, but it's alright. Now we just need to dodge nameless attacks. Basically, just you get everything what you see. We just try to get his stagger and basically finish him after that, because if you stagger him during his transition, he will try to do this transition attack again. Very nice. Very straightforward. And time for the last boss of this run. That is Soul of Cinder. And for Soul of Cinder, we want to have Budding Green Blossom. And honestly, that's not gonna be the very hard fight, but it's anyway epic to finish on it, because it's just like canonically the ending. And also there is a cool cutscene after that, which I very much like. So yeah, we apply resin, use Budding Green Blossom, and we start spamming. That's a very good opener. You also want to count hits because he staggers on 7s. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7. Very nice. We can strafe that attack, just going behind him. That's honestly unlucky. Getting cursed. But it's not a big deal in this case. And we try to stagger him if it's possible. If it's not possible, we just go into his explosion and finish him off. And that's it. And basically the final boss is done, and what we need to do is just to light this bonfire. And that's it. Time. Dark Souls 3 is done. So that's pretty much Dark Souls 3, all bosses glitchless. I hope you enjoyed that submission, and I hope you will enjoy the race as well if it's accepted, because race is gonna be very fun. Like, all bosses race are always fun, and it will be 2 different routes. So yeah, that's all I can say. Thank you very much for having me, and have a nice day. Thank you.